Hello, and welcome to the Digital Disruptors Podcast. I'm Brad Burrow.
And I'm David Jackson.
And today we're going to talk about SEO. This is one thing that I wanted to talk about, how it's changed and the importance of it. But I wanted to give everybody a little bit of a background on your background, David, because I think that a lot of people talk about SEO.
Yes.
It's like I get emails all the time, thousands of emails over the years that saying, let's help you with SEO. David started Techie, a web design and digital marketing firm. They are able to help companies basically increase their web traffic, typically about 300%. That's pretty amazing. They can help companies generate between 100 and 200 calls a month through better SEO. They've worked with companies like, and that's local SEO.
Yes.
And that's a key thing there. Sweet Tooth Dentistry. Another company's Kyocera Mobile. Kyocera.
That's right.
Say that 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
And then Children's Mercy. So you guys, you've done some incredible things, and you've worked with some great brands. So talk about, most people, it's surprising, some people don't even know what SEO stands for, but most people that are at least somewhat savvy know that they need to be paying attention to that in their business. So talk about the importance of it, how it's changed, what it looks like today.
Yeah, absolutely. So SEO, for people who don't know, stands for search engine optimization. And that's essentially just making sure your business is showing up when someone is searching for a product or service in a search engine. Typically that's Google, but that's also Bing and a few other places. But SEO has evolved quite a bit over the years. So the reason why it's important is because most people use Google before they start using the internet in general. So the first experience with the internet every day is they're starting out on Google and they're searching for something. So, hey, I need this, or I need, to buy this, or I need to hire a contractor to do this, or I need to do this with my teeth, or I need to schedule this exam. It all starts in Google. And when someone is looking for something, especially for the first time, SEO is going to make sure that you're appearing in front of those people when they need your service. And so it is crucial. It's one of the most important things that a business can do to actually grow, because everyone is going to the internet. And if you're not there, you're essentially a ghost nowadays.
Yeah. Hard to believe that any businesses aren't focusing on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny. It's like a typical business owner, we get into business and because we're good at something.
Yes.
Might be laying bricks. It might be video. It might be, whatever it is. But this area is something that is pretty foreign to us, as business owners. And I have this image of, this black hole, and there's a bunch of people in here, and they're like, oh, they're searching for this, that kind of thing. But there really is a whole lot to understanding how SEO works and the complexities of it. Can you just talk about that a little bit? You've got to be thinking about your webpage. You've got to be thinking about maybe even how an image is labeled.
Yeah.
There's so much to it.
There is a lot to SEO. And the fortunate thing, though, is that even though I can talk about the technicalities of SEO for, hours, we can have multiple podcast episodes just about the technical aspects of SEO. But what it all comes down to is SEO is all about ending somebody's search. And so that's actually, if we're talking about Google, the biggest search engine out there, their number one goal is to end your search as quickly as possible. And so let's break that down. If you can understand that, you're going to win with SEO. So why do people use Google? People use Google because they trust that it's going to give them the best result for the keyword they typed in. And if Google does not do that, it hurts Google's reputation. So people will start to use it less as a result. And so what do? Okay, we have to make sure that we're serving up the best result. So let's take that a step further. Take a look at your website today and think about the keyword you want to show up for. Do you really believe that your site in its current state is worthy of being shown on, on Google within your area? And you just have to be honest with yourself. And so what are the things that are going to make Google recommend us?
Yeah.
It's trust, it's authenticity, it's expertise. They have this acronym called EATT, and that's expertise, authoritativeness, trust, and actually, I don't know why I'm blanking on that last one there, because it used to be just EAT, and then they added the last one there. We'll put that in the description.
Okay.
but it's important that your website conveys that trust to the prospective consumer, and that you're backing that up by continually proving, yes, I am a real business. This is what I offer. This is why you should pick us, and this is what we're doing and the impact we're having in our community.
So how do you keep up with that? I mean, you probably get asked that all the time in meetings. I mean, there's so much to it.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, I feel like it's a full-time job just keeping up with how the algorithms are changing and what they're paying attention to and what they want and, all those things. There's no way business owners can do that.
Yeah, it's very difficult to keep up with, but if you look at it conceptually, in that we just have to continually be a business that is serving our customers well and are trying to demonstrate that we are here and we're serving our customers well, and we're showing that to Google, then you're going to win at SEO every time. And so let's go ahead and kind of break that down a little bit. So let's talk about your website. So whenever Google is determining who to rank when it comes to search, they're looking at the user experience primarily. So of course they're looking at keywords, they're looking at how your website's built, all of that, and that's more technical, but let's just focus on the user experience. So let's say that I search for, plumbers near me, and I click on a result, and I'm on that page and I say, okay, well, this site doesn't look very good. The pictures are kind of weird. It's just a little strange. So I back out and I leave. That's going to tell Google, well, they didn't find what they were looking for. It wasn't a successful search. But then I do that same search. I go to another site, and that site has great content, great design, great experience, great video, everything else. And I'm actually engaging. I'm actually clicking through. I'm actually, engaging with that site. That's going to tell Google, wow, they found what they were looking for, and that was successful. So what do you think is going to happen? I'm going to move that website up, and we're going to move this other website where someone backed out, we're going to move them down. So it's all about providing a great experience to the consumer.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. So even the subtleties of what you might do on a website could impact the potential SEO of that website.
That's right. That's right. Because it's all about how the user is experiencing it. So you do things like, putting in really great pictures. You do things like putting in great reviews. You make sure that you're constantly getting new reviews. You make sure that it's aesthetically pleasing. It's easy to navigate. All of those things contribute to your SEO success. But there are a few things that you can do to push it without even like really paying too much attention to some of those other things. Like, they're all important. But of course, there's one we're going to talk about today that has so much more weight than any of the other ones, and that's producing video content for your website.
Well, I'm all ears, man.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I talk about that in meetings sometimes. Like, we can really impact it, your SEO with video. But I'm really, really curious to hear what you're going to say about that.
Yeah. So one of the reasons why video content is so important, just from an SEO perspective, not even all of the other benefits, is because people are so much more likely to watch a video than they are to read text. And so imagine that you're at a mall, right? We've got the Oak Park Mall right across the street, and you're walking through the main mall and looking at all of the different stores. You can say that this is like walking or like searching for something. You're scrolling and you're seeing all the different results. Imagine when you walk into a store and instead of being greeted by a person, you just got a bunch of text or a bunch of signs. No one was at the counter. There were just a bunch of signs. You just had to read your way through the store. That's essentially what people are doing with their websites right now. But when you have a video, that video is going to greet them. It's going to tell them about the company. And that person is so much more likely to spend more time on the site watching the video just for doing that. So a key metric that's measured when it comes to SEO is time on site. And you can find this if you look in your Google Analytics, but let's say I land on a page and I just see text. I see that weird slideshow that we were talking about on a previous podcast. and I just immediately leave. The time on site is only going to be 2 or 3 seconds at that point. But let's say I get there and then there's even just a hero video. My time on site went up by 20, 30 seconds right away because people are much more likely to view that entire thing and be engaged by that video, especially if it's good. And then as I scroll, there's another video. It's the owner or it's the senior sales or senior market or whoever, and they're introducing themselves, talking about the company. I'm going to watch that whole thing. It's about a minute. So my time on site went from potentially 20 seconds to now over a minute. And that is one of the quickest ways you can improve your SEO numbers, but just putting a video on your site.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you think about, the contractors that are out there, even a dentist, somebody like that, just the power of having somebody on their site between 30 seconds and 1 minute is huge.
It's huge. Yeah, just that difference between that small amount of time can make a huge difference because, again, you're competing with different companies that are showing up for the same keyword. So if people are spending more time on your site than they are the competitors, you're going to ultimately rank higher, provided your other SEO efforts are in order too.
Yeah.
However, video is one of the most important ones. So doing that is going to make a huge difference. But some of the other benefits of having a great video are just the amount of people that are going to reach out, because that video creates that engagement and that connection that would normally happen when someone calls or visits you. So you're getting that out of the way right at the beginning before they even reach out.
Right.
So that's another benefit of having the video on your site. And as people start to submit forms, people start to talk about you, you start to increase your customer base, they refer you, that's going to improve the amount of times you're talked about offline, which in turn will help your SEO even more also. So, I mean, there's just no downside to having great video content on your site.
Yeah. One of the things that I was going to ask you about too is, YouTube, for example, is now transcribing the content.
Yeah.
And, so would you recommend from a video standpoint doing video focused on keywords? So let's say you're a foundation repair company that you're doing a series of videos on foundation repair, putting them on YouTube and getting the the kind of the SEO upside from that.
Yeah, I would definitely mention keywords in the video, but you don't have to overdo it because you certainly want to make that video for the end user first every time. Same thing with the content, just textual content on your website. However, you can mention that phrase because YouTube does transcribe a video pretty quickly, and that transcription does play a part in what you show up for when someone is searching. And something we talked about off camera was YouTube is the second biggest search engine behind Google.
Yeah.
And so having your content there and then posted on your website, you're taking care of two very important things with just one video. You're getting the exposure on YouTube and you're increasing your chances of being discovered on your website as well.
Yeah. One question I had for you, David, is just the different, platforms out there, DuckDuckGo or whatever, there's different search engines out there. Do these same things that you're doing for Google, do they work on the other search engine platforms as well?
They do. They're very similar. They're really, most search engines are built on an engagement basis because the logic just follows that we want to recommend content that our users are going to find helpful. Mm-hmm. So the website that does have a video, they have a great design, it's easily accessible, that caters to the largest audience. It caters to people who'd rather read, but it also caters to people who'd rather watch. And so that is a more complete result rather than a website that only caters to one type of person or just a few types of people. That also lends itself to the accessibility. You know, sometimes people will install an accessibility widget. They'll use alt text on their images because they're trying to cater to people that need screen readers. So again, it's about what's the best experience I can provide for the largest amount of people. And if you do that, you'll win on every search engine, not just Google.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you can talk to video creators about, like best practices that, you know, it's a little bit of a curveball for what we talked about, but I'm thinking, you know, what, if I was going to build a video content specifically for SEO upside, what would I need to be thinking about?
So the first thing I would say is make sure that you clearly state what's going to happen in the video within the first, 10 seconds or so.
Like, what do you mean? What would that mean?
So just, hey, this video is going to be about this.
Oh, okay.
Hey, welcome. I'd like to talk about this. And it does differ based on the type of video you're making, because an intro video on a homepage will of course be different than a service-based video where you're explaining your service. But I would recommend saying, this is exactly what we're going to be talking about. I'm going to walk you through this. So you're setting the expectations, and then you really just dig into the content. Make sure that you are staying within the topics and the script, and then just make sure that you're saying keywords just a few times. Again, you don't have to just say the keyword like every 5 seconds. That's not really gonna do much, but definitely just say it maybe a few times, and then make sure that you're setting the expectation for the video, because the last thing we want is for someone to not watch the whole video or someone to stop because they don't really know what to expect, and then they think that you're not going anywhere.
Right. Another question I have is there a best practice on how to implement video into your website? So I get asked this all the time. Well, should I put my video on YouTube? Should I put it on Vimeo? Wistia is another platform that is being used. Should I upload it to the server? Yeah. And should I put it there? know, so can you talk about, like, and maybe just specifically for SEO purposes, what is the best practice on how to get video onto your website but still impacting SEO?
Yeah. So from an SEO perspective, YouTube is the way to go. So I would say that when and it also depends on the type of video. So the hero video, which is a video that will most likely go as the background when someone first lands on your page and they see a video playing with text over it, that video should probably be uploaded to the server itself, because it's generally shorter. It's not going to be very large megabyte wise, and you can render it well on there without having to worry about a third party messing up or something going wrong. There are cases where you can use Vimeo or YouTube for that, but it really depends on your website builder. But we usually upload that directly to the server because it's short. Every other video should be on YouTube, should be uploaded there, and then embedded onto the website using YouTube embed codes. Because like we mentioned before, YouTube is the second biggest search engine behind Google. And so embedding those videos, you're going to have the benefit on YouTube and the benefit of having video on your website. And
do you find that even the hero videos should web designers be getting those SEO optimized as well? I mean, even the name of that video, things like that, is that something as well?
It's not as big of a factor, just because that video doesn't have a whole lot to say based on how it's used. And so that video would just kind of go there, and it'd be there. Most of the time it's unlisted if it's uploaded to YouTube, but the videos that should be optimized, right title, right description, etc., should be those videos where the audio is playing, where someone's talking about a particular subject. And so you treat those with a lot more care than you would the hero video in terms of like how you upload it.
Right.
Yeah.
So one last question and we'll wrap up. It's on the transcription side.
Yes.
So we transcribe, like when we do podcasts and different types of videos, we transcribe that and then put the transcription on the webpage.
Yes.
YouTube does that now. But the accuracy, is it important that you go in and look at the transcriptions and make sure that they're accurate? Could that have a negative impact on SEO?
It not that we've seen. You can go in there and update the transcription, but it gets it pretty correct. Unless you're hard to understand, or something was wrong with the audio, it's going to do a really great job at transcribing you into English and putting those captions out correctly. So there's not really a lot of times where we have to go in and correct it. Now, if I was sharing this on, like, let's say LinkedIn, and I wanted people to engage with it there, then I would make sure that those transcriptions were correct, just because it's a different audience and I'm trying to, look more impressive, so to speak, to the LinkedIn audience. But for YouTube, it gets it right a lot of times. Like I've found that LinkedIn's captions don't quite do as well as YouTube. Yeah. So that's the only reason I say that. But it'll get the point, and it'll get probably 99% accurate, but you could still get in there and make modifications.
So one more question. Is there any downside to uploading the same content to multiple platforms?
Not at all. Not at all. You can certainly do that. You can have it on Vimeo. You can have it on Wistia. You can have it on YouTube. And there's really no penalty for doing that. But you may find that the YouTube upload is going to perform the best. Yeah.
Great information. Well, this is really helpful.
Yeah.
I learned something today.
Cool.
In the next podcast, we're going to talk about the Google, the term that you had. So, Carly, we're going to have to edit this. So I'll start that.
It's called LSA, AKA Local Service Ads.
LSA. Okay. All right. So, Carly, you can start on me on this one if you want to, if that helps. Okay. All right. So that's great information. I think I even learned something today. I mean,
yeah, cool.
Every time we talk, I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. So that's really great. In the next podcast, we're going to talk about LSAs. Give me a quick overview of what our viewers can expect on that next one.
So Google LSA, that's a platform that allows you to pay per lead, and it's Google's new alternative kind of to Google Ads. So a lot of contractors, a lot of service-based businesses, dentists, et cetera, are flocking to it because it's less risky and the leads that come from it are pretty good and they're pretty cheap. However, sometimes after running it, businesses experience that their LSA just dries up or stops completely. And so in that next episode, we're going to talk about why that happens and how to turn it back around so that you can be generating those leads again, and how to generate them consistently and prevent yourself from falling into that sand trap again. So it'll be really exciting.
That's going to be great information. So you really need to listen to this next podcast that's coming up. We really appreciate you guys listening to what we're talking about. I hope you're learning something. We want you to subscribe, like, share, get this information out to people. We want to help people do better in the digital realm. So this is the Digital Disruptors Podcast. I'm Brad Burrow.
And I'm David Jackson.
And we'll see you next time.
Take care, everyone.